I don't know if I'm live if I don't end up in the live stream. How are you this evening? I've had a day. In fact, I screwed up on one thing I was supposed to do, and I'm not even going to change it. It's 9:30 here at Central Time in St. Louis, Missouri. I'm not changing what I was supposed to change, so it's going to look pretty bad. But we'll deal with it. So anyway, thank you for watching, whenever that is. It may be next year, maybe tomorrow. I don't really know. I know that no one's here right now, and that's disappointing. But hey, I was supposed to start streaming at 9, and I just got here. So shall we talk about the day? We should talk about the day. I just got texted, and now I have to turn that off because... Okay, good. All right. So, as you know, I'm a real estate agent, real estate broker. Today, went and saw a property that we kind of liked. We're going to put an offer in on it, but the day just kept going. It just kept going. I kept needing more and more things. And I'm just checking right now just to make sure we're good for the camera. But I was just working. And then some of my clients had a kind of a car show. So I went over there, and a car show open house, went over there for a while, talked to them. And then wife asked me to dinner, so I obliged. And here we are at 9:30. Now, maybe you don't care about what I did tonight. That's totally fine. What are we going to do tonight? What's our schedule? Well, I put it in the title. We're going to talk about Meta, and we're going to talk about benefits. They're upset that the laundry service might be axed. And, as someone who used to do laundry and then my wife took over, I can understand the being upset about not having laundry service. Now, to be fair, I don't expect my employer to do my laundry or pay for it. That seems a little odd. But when you're sitting on billions of dollars in cash, I mean, what difference does it make, I guess, right? So there's that. And how does that relate to other industries? Then we have some sexual harassment. Apparently it's not acceptable at CVS. Now you say, well, John, when is it ever acceptable? Acceptable? It's not. I was making a light joke on a serious topic. We'll talk about, what's the best thing to do in those situations. What's the ethical thing to do about that? We'll talk about let me get my list. I should have done that earlier. The young employment demographic demanding activism out of corporations, and if that's a good plan. We'll see about that. And then we'll talk about corporate scandals appearing not to hurt companies. I don't agree with that, but we'll see. And then if we get lucky, we'll talk about an octopus farm being unethical and a company birthday party that led to a lawsuit. Finally, if we get really far, which I don't suspect we will, probably start with this tomorrow, is what kind of a salary should a young college graduate make? There's an article in Forbes that says that maybe we shouldn't be paying six figures to recent college graduates. To that I say I don't understand why that would ever be anybody's business but the employers. I mean, I'm not trying to be mean. Now, normally a normal night we have a discussion about something to start the show. Well, what should that be tonight? I have an idea, and so I will put forth this idea. Are you familiar with the concept of trade-offs? In economics, that would be like, well, we can't always buy gold, so we have to buy silver. Like for our manufacturing process, we need gold, but silver will work. We just don't want to use it unless we have to. So gold is most expensive, and then silver is not as expensive. And that's a trade-off. It's actually not called a trade-off, though. It's called like replacement or something. It's 9:30. Cut me some slack. Substitution. That's the economic theory of substitution. However, there's trade-offs. So what would a trade-off be? Well, It's pretty simple. Like, say there's one job where they offer you pina coladas after work, and then the other one they offer you beer. Which one do you choose? I mean, if you like beer, I guess you choose one. I don't know. I'm not doing very good with my my analogies. So let's do it differently. Let's say, let me put this forth. So are there parts of a job that you dislike, or do you like the whole thing? And I asked that question, and I'll tell you why. I was at a college university. I was at Drury College when they called it Collegiate University. I think we're university again. That's in Springfield, Missouri, in case you're wondering. A fine institution. Look at how far it got me. Anyway, so are there parts of a job that stink? So I was at this school, and my daughter was doing a visit. And we got to the front desk, and a nice woman said, hey, who are you? And we said, this is so-and-so. And she's okay, well, let me take you to the lounge. And so she physically got up and took us to the lounge. And I was thinking to myself, this woman does this every day, at least like 4 times a day in the morning. And I got to thinking, that's terrible. Like, I don't, like, can you imagine working and then having to get up 4 or 5 times and walk people over to this thing? Like, to me, that's not part of her job description. Like, if you look at a job description for that particular role, I doubt that it says you need to get up 4 times and show, buyers, or show, potential enrollees the lounge. Like, you read this job description, and it's always like, to facilitate management in their quest to reduce costs, to execute some sort of, plan to, conquer the world. That's often one of them. But anyway, I was thinking about that, and I thought about a couple of things. Like, so let's say you're a construction worker, and you have to use the bathroom in a porta potty. I mean, that sucks. You have to work outside versus working inside. Are these trade-offs? Are these things that are components of a job, reasons for selecting different jobs? Is it obvious? Like, let's say you did we'll say the normal path, which is nothing close to what I did. Let's say you went to high school, you graduated, you went to college, you graduated, you had never done the particular job that you went to college for, but you do somehow manage to get an entry-level job in the field that you're interested in. You go to work and you learn about these things that you have to do that you don't like to do them. Like, then what? Yeah. Some of you may say, well, that wouldn't happen because I, shadowed somebody or something like that. And I get that. But I was just thinking, in this particular situation, what is it that woman was actually told she was supposed to do versus what it is she actually does? So maybe a question for you to me is this: John, what is it about your job that you don't like? Well, that's not very nice, but I don't know what the trade-offs would be. Okay. I don't know how you could go with the trade-off concept. So let me try to explain. Like, I own the company. There's a lot of stress on me. Okay. That's just a fact. So as far as like, what can I have someone do to help me? Do you hire somebody to do things you don't want to do? Oddly enough, in this business, let me try and explain this the best I can. So if you're not, as a real estate agent, if you're not like talking to your clients and helping your clients, like, you won't have any. And so the odd thing about our business is, like, we feel like we need to be out front of our business, and then support staff and whatnot be behind us. Now, if you read anything from Gary Keller of Keller Williams, he says that like the first person I should be bringing on is not administrative assistants. It should be another buyer's agent. The thought there is you could increase your revenue faster, which I'm okay with the idea. I mean, going and finding another agent that is going to work within your confines is dicey at best, where it's going to work out. There's quite a variance in expertise and professionalism in our industry. So as far as a trade-off, it doesn't really, like, the things that I don't want to do. I mean, if you, like I said, if you're not out in front, then like you're putting someone on salary or hourly, you're paying someone and they're not aligned with you in the sense you only get paid when you close deals. And so anyway, maybe that's an argument for another day, but so I am bringing someone on. I'm not shy about saying that. You should see some of the fruits of our labor coming up this week. She starts Monday, and I hope it's a fantastic time. But we have a strange business in that we have to the things we wouldn't do. I mean, you have to be out in the public and talk to people. Like, you'll never make it behind your desk as a real estate agent. So anyway, I don't know where I was going with that other than there's bad parts of every job, and it's just a question of what you can tolerate, I suspect. So that being said, I'm sorry that was long-winded. I'm a little tired. I should have started the live stream at 9, and then I would be in good shape. But I just based on after I just ate, and that's like killing me. But anyway, what we're going to do now is we're going to get a drink. We're going to talk about our first article. We're going to get into it. If I get done early tonight, I get done early. Just deal with it. I apologize if it happens, but if we run late, I don't think that's going to happen because I'm exhausted. So, and you say, well, John, if you're exhausted, why don't you not do this right now? Well, no, I like to do the live streams. It's giving me what the little energy I have is actually, it's happening. I was going to watch TV after this. There's no way. I'm going to go right to bed. Long day. Let's get into it then. Okay, so now I need to do this, and do that. And then I need to do that. And then I need to do this. Here we go. Bam. Okay, this is the first article I saw. I thought it was fascinating. It says Meta is ruthlessly cutting laundry benefits and other perks, creating a panic among some employees. Now understand, like, you go to work for Facebook, they're doing your laundry, or they did. You go to work on the construction site, and they're not doing anything for you. You might die. Little stark differences. You say you drive a truck, no one's doing your laundry for you. If you're doing real estate, no one's doing laundry for me. So it says, we know times are tough. This was in Forbes. I have 2 articles from Forbes. I don't know why. I got lucky, I guess. Anyway, we know times are tough. There were 2 years of unrelenting stress and anxiety over the pandemic. Inflation has just hit a record high levels, sending the cost of everything higher. Just when we thought that things were getting better, Russia invaded Ukraine. Some people are facing even greater challenges. It's hard to believe, and I hope not to frighten you with this new recent disaster. According to the Blind app, Meta, formerly known as Facebook, is cutting benefits ruthlessly, including laundry benefits, wrote a verified employee of the company. Large tech employees are renowned for the luxurious perks they offer their workers. Therefore, it's hard to comprehend, but things are even worse. Dinner was pushed out to 6:30 p.m., no to-go food boxes or reusable containers to bring home food for family and friends. The new dinner time, according to the New York Times, is an inconvenience because the last of the company's shuttles that take employees to and from their homes typically leaves the office at 6 p.m. It will also make it more difficult for workers to stop up on hefty to-go boxes of food. Oh, my God. Thank you for being right there. And bring them to their refrigerators at home. The moves show a possible change at offices in Silicon Valley. Wow. To be fair, the poster could have been concerned about the implosion in Meta's stock price. Many tech workers earn a bulk of their money from stock and options. When the share price is soaring, their wealth booms. However, if the stock price craters, so does all the hope and dreams of the employees who overspent, believing that stocks will only go up forever. Meta, more so than their peers, has been hit with an array of challenges, ranging from allegations over their privacy policies, new rules at Apple that adversely impact their advertising business model, Google gaining ads from their loss, stalling user growth, the surge in popularity of TikTok, massive spending on Zuckerberg's pivot to the metaverse, and other issues have led to a massive drop in the social media company's stock price. The Times says that some employees are debating whether they should be searching for new jobs as they see the value of their stock-based compensation plummet. Now, let's go over a few of these points here. There was a bug on the screen and it just wasn't going to be tolerated. Okay, so let's talk about the difference between me, Deerwood Realty, and Meta. Okay. If I make a mistake in my planning, I'm out of business. If I make a mistake with cash management, I'm out of business. Okay. If I sell a house or if I help someone buy a house, I make money. If I do anything else, I don't make money. Okay. No one does my laundry for me. No one drives me around. I get to do that myself. There's no shuttle. There's no stock compensation for me if I do better or worse. I have none of these things. And so it's hard for me to relate as someone who has to deal with this kind of stuff. I don't understand how you can have all of these things. But one of the things that I have in common with this is that I understand that when things don't go well, I'm probably not going to get to keep everything that I had. And in my business, if you promise someone something, like an employee, a quote unquote benefit, you're kind of obligated. Now you may say, well, that's not true. You shouldn't be obligated. You shouldn't think that way, but you took an employee on and you promised them like X, Y, and Z, and then now you're failing to deliver what you promised. And so in that way, I can understand why employees would be thinking about going to different organizations. The problem is, I suspect with many of them, is that this was their dream job. I know the idea that someone's dream job would be to work at Facebook is surprising to some. But let's go over the reasons why we're not getting laundry service. Okay. It says they've been hit with many challenges over their privacy policies, new rules at Apple that adversely impact their advertising business model, Google gaining ads from their loss, stalling user growth, the surge in popularity of TikTok, and massive spending on Zuckerberg's pivot to the metaverse. So there's something in there. I mean, there's competition from the likes of TikTok and Google. And then there is a company strategy that the company's going in one direction, and that's the metaverse. These employees are now feeling what I feel when things don't go right for me. They're getting hit in the wallet. The concern raised by the person on Blind may not necessarily be about the laundering and free food, but an existential dread that the good times may be over for the foreseeable future. If a person spent significantly more than they earned, believing that they'd have a future fortune built in stock, it's understandable that they now feel crushed. Okay, so here are some of the comments made in response to the recent laundry hardship at Meta. It's from Meta Love Laundry. Dinner pushed out to 6:30 p.m. No to-go boxes, no reusable containers. One can even bring for lunch and other stuff. My kids love the variety of food I bring from Meta. It's really interesting because, like, if you're complaining about a benefit. Laundry benefit's gone. I've been using the laundry and love that the cleaners come home, pick up stuff, and bring it back. Such a helpful one where clothes are folded and I don't have to worry much and focus that time on my Access work. Why? Come on. Got to do your own laundry, bud. Childcare reimbursements were already cut for 2022. Well, that's terrible. It says, oh no, are you doing okay? No one should have to live in these conditions. Maybe try GoFundMe. Seriously. Such a tragic life you have, those folded clothes. Zuck will fold the clothes himself for you. At $850,000 total compensation, pays $100 a month for someone to do your laundry. That's kind of interesting. You're not supposed to feed your children with stolen food. See, that's an interesting question. Or is it stolen? It says it wasn't stolen before, though. To-go boxes were supplied. Now, though, it'll be stolen food. Google frugality. It says Google has both laundry and to-go boxes. I thought that the to-go box thing was standard at literally every company. Like, seriously, there's employees that actually believe that. Hey, when you're paid only minimum living wages, you have to resort to such pettiness. Heard that Meta doesn't even give food stamps. That was kind of sharp. And then this says 850,000 after the crash. What was your total compensation before? At 850,000 total cash. I'm sorry, at 850,000. I don't remember what it is, but to pay $100 per month for someone to do your laundry, how will you survive on that TC? Which I don't know what it is. Maybe it's tax credit. I don't know. But the point is that there's people complaining that they're not getting laundry benefits at work. And then there's other people that are saying, like, look, dude, like they don't like, that's never happened at my job. Seriously, stop complaining. Do they have a point? I don't know. What do you think? What would be a benefit that actually made you want to go to work? Is there one other than money? Like if they, like, let's say, hey, we can only give you like $40,000, but we'll give you a vacation every year to wherever you want to go for 7 days, anywhere in the world. Would that be a reason to work there? You know, I mean, I just don't feel like healthcare is the thing that's keeping people at work anymore. Like, I think that's not happening. As far as like moving to different places for better healthcare, because it's always changing. I don't know. What do you think? Put your answer in the chat or put your answer in the comment section. Either one. I'd like it to be in the chat, but I can see right now I'm streaming to no one. So that's not good. Hard to get out in the real world there when I can't get past 0 subscribers. Anyway, so that's that article. Let me ask you, did you ever have laundry service at your work? Did you ever have somebody pick you up and take you to work for free daily? I'm just asking. You guys know I'm tired. So, next article. You know what? We may just run through all of them. I don't know. Let me check something. Okay. Here we go. CVS. They're the pharmaceutical like a fake Walgreens. No offense to Walgreens or CVS, but it fires several employees and executives after internal sexual harassment investigation. Now, here's a couple of things. Number one, who's conducting the investigation? Okay. And then to me is like, should it actually be like a criminal investigation? Should there be charges filed by the local municipality and stuff like that? I'm not comfortable with quote unquote like company justice. If someone's broken the law, then someone should face the consequences of that in the legal system. I'm not particularly interested in it being done in the work. Then the second thing is do you if there is sexual harassment, when do you fire someone? Like at your first allegation, or like after you've after you've checked on the allegations, investigated with someone, or like, if someone goes to jail for something, like for this reason, like, I don't know if the employee is obligated to tell you, hey, I'm not going to come into work tomorrow because I'm in jail for sexual harassment. I don't know how that works. Enlighten me in the chat. Enlighten me wherever you'd like. That didn't sound good. Okay, here we go. We'll do the points, the key points today because I don't know. I thought it might be a good idea. CVS Health said Friday that it fired several employees, including executives, following an internal investigation into how the company handled sexual harassment complaints. It's interesting. It fired several employees, including executives, as if they're never allowed to be fired. The company also said it will shake up how it handles similar complaints in the future, according to CBS statement. And then CEO Karen Lynch will oversee the effort. If you're the CEO of a large organization, don't you pretty much oversee every single effort? CVS Health said Friday that it fired several employees, including executives, which again, it seems a little bit smug, following an internal investigation into how the company handled sexual harassment complaints. Now, this is interesting. Okay, let's take this from a few different angles. One, like let's say I go to work for CVS. Do I want to be sexually harassed? No. Excuse me. I don't want to be in an organization where there's a bunch of sexual harassment occurring. I don't like that. And I would feel very uncomfortable with a young college student just graduated that goes to work for these organizations and has the world in front of them, and then you guys muck it up by sexual harassment. It's really bad. It's really bad. And then my other point is this, so, we go through life and we have these jobs for a reason. And I don't believe that anyone has a job to be sexually harassed. Like, that's not why you go to work. The company also said it will shake up how it handles similar complaints in the future, according to a CVS statement. CEO Karen Lynch will oversee the effort. I read that twice, but that's because it's in the article. Please forgive me if you think that I'm just stumbling. Now, my question to you is I need to know how you're investigating these things. Does law enforcement need to be involved with these things? I believe so. They need to be the ones conducting the investigation. I don't really. It's not that I don't trust a company investigating itself. It's that the companies aren't designed for this sort of thing, especially the security apparatus. CVS did not say how many employees were fired. In a statement, the drugstore chain and healthcare company said it received an anonymous report in late 2021 that alleged misconduct by an employee in field management. It said it hired an outside firm to conduct an independent review. After the probe concluded and substantiated those complaints, CVS said it terminated the individual, and others have since been exited from the company for failing to treat allegations with the seriousness we expect. Now, what I like to laugh about is they said it has since been exited from the company. That means you've been fired. Now, this is suspect. I think the kids say sus. This is sus. In a statement, the drugstore chain and healthcare company said it received an anonymous report in late 2021 that alleged misconduct by an employee in field management. Now, how does an entire drugstore chain and healthcare company, monstrous organization, receive an anonymous report in late 2021? How does it even get to where it needs to go? Like, if I'm sending a letter, no offense, but if I'm sending a letter to CVS right now, the CEO or anyone in management is not getting that letter. It's probably getting thrown away on the mailroom floor, if there is such a place anymore. And then it says, terminated the individual and others have since been exited from the company for failing to treat allegations with the seriousness we expect. What in the world did you just literally did not investigate? Why not? So that's another, look, I said, why not? It was a rhetorical question in one way, but honestly, it says so much. Here's what it says. Okay. Let's say let's just do a scenario. Let's say I'm John and I am an accountant. Okay. And one day my boss comes up to me and says, hey man, I know you're an accountant, but we need you to help us conduct a criminal investigation on sexual harassment. Are you in? Now, if you're an employee, you're like, hey man, okay. Because you want anything to help the company, right? Now, that's my problem. How do you have anything like people have rights? You can't allege somebody did something if they didn't do it, and it just seems to me you have these people, these officials that are clearly not cut out for this type of job. You were hired as like an accountant, but now you're doing chief investigations into sexual harassment at work. It makes it tough for me to believe that. Anyway, companies have been under. Oh, I'm sorry. We absolutely do not tolerate behavior or actions that are harassing, hostile, abusive, or discriminatory, the company said in a statement. So Let me tell you a little bit about myself. Sometimes I lose my temper. I'm not proud of it, and it's changed over the years, but sometimes an agent will get right under my skin to the point where I go nuclear, and I say, you're an idiot and everything is bad about you. And I mean, I don't know what else to say other than that. So anyway, I don't know what the lines are as far as this says that are harassing, hostile, abusive, or discriminatory. The other article we read, the Meta Facebook, Meta workers aren't even allowed to get their laundry done anymore for free. And so now we've got this situation. CVS also seems to be, I thought it was a pretty cash strong company at one point in time. Now they are going to do their own investigations. Just not a good plan. Not a good plan. Companies have been under heightened scrutiny over their handling of sexual harassment and inappropriate conduct, particularly in the years that followed film producer Harvey Weinstein's conviction for rape and sexual assault. The Me Too movement, which began in Hollywood, has ricocheted across the corporate world from fast food chains to apparel companies. And I'm not going to say as well they should. What I would say is these are just common, like no one should go to work with the expectation they're going to be harassed in any way. I'm sorry. I mean, I just think it's abhorrent. So it says it has led to the downfall of prominent business leaders, including former McDonald's CEO Steve Easterbrook. The company's board fired him for violating its fraternization policy and later clawed back his severance payment valued at $105 million, alleging that he committed fraud and lied about having more consensual relationships with employees. That guy is disgusting. Seriously. When I read it once before, and they're like, "Hey, dude, we think you've got nude photos of your workers on your phone." He's like, no, we're cool. And then I think they found them. Now, I didn't know that they got his severance payment back that's valued at $105 million. But let me tell you something about my severance package. If I don't make it as a real estate agent, there is none. So like this guy can sexually harass people, and he still has I'm sure he made more than I did at my job. Let's put it that way. Now, but he gave up $105 million because he was a bad person with women or men or whoever. It's not clear from the article. Leslie Wexner, the billionaire founder of Victoria's Secret's former parent company, L Brands, stepped down as CEO after he faced backlash for his close ties with Jeffrey Epstein, the late sex criminal and financier. Now, how do I put this? Do I think that he did the right thing in his organization that he built? I don't know. What was the intent? Was the intent like, hey, I might have been involved with a seriously bad person here, so I'm going to resign? Or is it like, did he, that's a tough one for me. The idea that perhaps he lost the ability to lead. He certainly lost the moral high ground, but being friends with someone, see, that's the issue. Being friends or more than friends, you kind of have to know what's going on. I don't know. It's a weird deal. The whole Epstein thing is always going to be weird to me, and it should be weird to you as well. And just never forget. I'm going to go with Gide Zeitlin was pushed out as CEO of Tapestry as the owner of Coach and Kate Spade after the company investigated an allegation that posed as a photographer and tried to lure women into a romantic relationship. Well, it seems like he was lonely. I'm not defending him. I'm just saying. On Friday, a CVS spokesperson confirmed that Lynch learned about complaints made by at least 2 female employees who alleged that a New Jersey-based regional store manager touched them inappropriately or harassed them at work. That manager oversaw hundreds of the company's stores. Well, that's not good. It says CNBC obtained a memo that Lynch sent to all employees on Friday. In the memo, Lynch said Chief Pharmacy Officer Prem Shah and Chief Customer Officer Michelle Peluso have met with employees across the company to talk about the situation, the action that CVS is taking. So, no offense. But this is what my concern is. And now you've got Chief Pharmacy Officer. What does that guy know about anything that has to do with sexual harassment? And then Michelle Peluso, who is the chief customer officer. Like, what does she do anyway? I want to be crystal clear. This company does not tolerate harassment or hostile, abusive, or discriminatory behaviors of any kind from any employees, regardless of position. We will also not tolerate inaction from leaders who are responsible for escalating concerns or allegations raised by our colleagues. Okay, so she's going to be crystal clear. The company does not tolerate harassment or hostile, abusive, or discriminatory behaviors of any kind from any employees. So let's talk about this. So, like, do you know any employers that do, like, specifically say, hey, we can, if you come here, we can harass others? Hostile, I get angry sometimes, I throw things. Abusive or discriminatory, I try not to be discriminatory. I don't, the definition is kind of vague at this point. And then abusive, I just can't imagine why would one be abusive to other colleagues at work. I don't want to be that guy. In the memo, she said that the company is stepping up how it handles internal reports and investigations. She said that it has created the Office of Workplace Assistance, which she will personally oversee, along with the company's chief policy officer and general counsel, Tom Moriarty. Well, now there you go. There's an attorney. Finally found an attorney in the organization, and he's going to be involved in this Office of Workplace Assistance, which I don't understand. No offense, but you're going to have the Office of Workplace Assistance, which looks into rape allegations. And then, like, how does, like you need to make, whatever CVS wants you to make. It's just kind of weird. It says, we want to make sure that you have access to a trusted resource to report anything concerning you that you have experienced, witnessed, or made aware of, she said in the memo. And regardless of how you report your concerns, we want to assure you that these issues will be reviewed by a team with an independent and impartial lens. Wall Street Journal first reported on the ousters. Well, look. Let's say an employee does something bad with sexual harassment. Do you call the police? Sorry, I got a sticky finger from my soda lid. Anyway, do you call the police? Is it a criminal investigation? Should it be a criminal investigation? I believe it should. I'm very uncomfortable with like quasi governmental organizations on campuses that don't allow for the right to defend yourself, essentially, the right to not incriminate yourself. It's just a bizarre place, the campus security group. So where are you at on that? Now, I'm going to do something while we're talking, okay? This is going to be dicey. Bum, 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 bum. I'm sorry, I was doing Rush, so we're gonna put that here, and then we're gonna do. We're trying. Oh God. Do you know if Spotify has a stock price? If it trades in the United States. It trades on the New York Stock Exchange. Okay. All right. I think this will help what I'm doing. So you guys can see that, right? You can see what I was doing? Okay, good. I think good. All right. Next article. It says, Disney is not alone. Young employees in revolt are holding bosses' feet to the fire. Let's get into this. This idea that young employees should be activists in their own organizations. I don't know about that. So let's just see what it says. This is Bob Chapek said he didn't want Walt Disney Company to be a political football. It came one anyway. Chief executive of the world's most powerful. By the way, that guy made like $32 million last year. The chief executive, while cutting staff. The chief executive of the world's most powerful entertainment company this week became an unwilling flashpoint in the debate over Florida's controversial bill restricting classroom instruction on sexual orientation and gender identity for like 3 to 5 year olds. LGBTQ. There's no plus in this one, so I'm not sure what's going on. Advocates say the bill is an attack on gay and transgender kids as well as teachers, while supporters say they're defending parental rights. The bill forbids instruction on sexual orientation or gender identity in kindergarten through third grade, or in a manner that is not age appropriate or developmentally appropriate for students in accordance with state standards. Parents can sue school districts for violations. Disney, which has tens of thousands of employees in Florida, at first refused to take a public stance. The smart move by a corporation. Chapek on Monday told staff in an email that corporate statements do very little to change outcomes or minds, and instead are often weaponized by one side or the other to further divide and inflame. He is right. Backlash was swift amongst the bill's critics, but it would be one thing if the anger at Disney's muted response came solely from outside activists who oppose Florida's legislation, which they've dubbed Don't Say Gay Bill, which apparently isn't even in the bill. But as so often happens nowadays in corporate life, the loudest calls came from inside the mouse house. So this article is marveling at the fact that the charge to change or charge for activism came for the company first, like a pet peeve. Like these people get free laundry, perhaps. And now they're insisting that you go and you strike and cause issues because of this bill. Very fascinating. LGBTQ employees of Pixar, in a letter to Disney leadership, said they were disappointed, hurt, afraid, and angry about the company's stance and demanded that Disney discontinue its financial support for lawmakers who supported the bill. Individual employees, including writers for Disney shows, expressed their dismay on Twitter and in online videos. So LGBTQ employees of Pixar said they were disappointed, hurt, angry, and afraid about the company's stance and demand. What is the stance? Don't say gay when you're in second grade to a second grader? Okay. I mean, like they're trying to protect the kids, and you're saying whose kids, I guess. We're going to go with that. Anyway, individual employees, including writers for Disney shows, expressed their dismay on Twitter and in online videos by first declining to take a public stand, only to later say the company composed the legend all day long. Chapek found himself in his biggest imbroglio since taking chief executive of the Burbank entertainment giant 2 years ago. Chapek apologized to staff Friday and said that the company would pause all political donations in Florida as it reassesses its advocacy policies. Speaking to you, reading our messages, and meeting with you have helped me to better understand how painful our silence was, Chapek said in an email obtained by the Times. It's clear that this is not just an issue about a bill in Florida, but instead yet another change to basic human rights. You needed me to be stronger ally in the fight for equal rights, and I let you down. I'm sorry. Now, what are we talking about here? Is an education a basic human right? I don't know. By the logic of it can be okay as long as it's a human right. I mean, if you read something, you should be able to murder somebody immediately. It just doesn't seem like that should go that way. Chapa could trade notes with Netflix CEO Ted Sarandos and Spotify chief Daniel Ek. Both executives have waded through internal blowback when business priorities clash with liberal social values. Sarandos for weeks took heat for his support of Dave Chappelle after the comedian's comments were seen as transphobic. Ek faced pressure over podcasters Joe Rogan's comments on COVID-19 vaccines, race, and gender. My understanding is like one of those videos for sure is a fake, but I just don't know which one. I don't appreciate it. I honestly, like in 2022, I'm done with the racism. I think that's just terrible. I don't think you should ever involve yourself in those situations. And perhaps if you're lucky, they'll go away. The lesson for companies: ignore employees' pain at your own peril. Not long ago, it would have been unthinkable for people to call out their CEOs publicly for decisions they didn't like. But as Disney's trial by fire and other examples show, higher-ups are increasingly contended with a socially conscious and internet-savvy generation of employees who want their workplaces to reflect their most deeply held benefits. Oh, sorry about that. Oh, man. Okay, so not long ago, it would have been unthinkable for people to call out their CEOs publicly for decisions they didn't like. But as Disney's trial by fire and other examples show, higher-ups are increasingly contending with a socially conscious and internet-savvy generation of employees who want their workplaces to reflect their most deeply held beliefs and are willing to say so online. So let's get into that. I don't have anything to drink, and so if I cough in the future here, it's going to be bad. Okay, here we go. So, this is me. Okay. If I'm being paid to do a job, let's say I'm being paid to be an illustrator. Okay. That's my job. I should go illustrate. Okay. It isn't my job to push the company to change their policy on some sort of socially acceptable definition when I'm sitting here and my job is, again, to make a picture or to write a story or to sweep the floors. I don't think it's the company's job. Honestly, if someone came to me and they said, John, we want you, we know we're getting paid to operate the computers and make deals and stuff like that. But you know what? We don't want to do that. We want to complain about some sort of group that did something bad, maybe. Allegedly. Honestly, with my company, I would be very uncomfortable. I'm going to put something in my notes that I need to do for tomorrow. But I am not of the belief. I am uncomfortable with a couple of things. The one thing that I'm uncomfortable with is you're a human being. When you're not on the clock, providing you're not getting someone arrested or injured, I think that that's your time. Now, that doesn't mean you can wear a company logo shirt and go on TikTok and start, blasting negativity. I'll say it that way. You know what I'm talking about, I think. And if not, figure it out over time, right? We've got plenty of time. So I don't agree with this at all. I just don't think this is a good idea. So let's just look at some of the companies they were talking about just on their stock price. I think you might have seen this when I did the work, but this is Netflix. Okay. This is where it was in 2021, $616.47. And now it's cut in half. It's cut in half. That's not great. Let's look at Disney. How are they doing for 5 years? I don't know if a year's enough. Well, you can see that it started out here at 186 or 183, and now we're down to 118. We're not doing well. Over time, this guy, apparently they don't feel like he should be paid all this money in bonuses because the company's doing terribly under his guidance. And then we have Spotify. Look at this. It was as high as $338 a share, and now we're down to what? 119, 110. So we went from 343 to 110. Because we got to talk about Joe Rogan. Anyway, in addition to being more tech savvy, they seem to be also more collaborative, more mutually accountable, and more acutely aware of hypocrisy when they see it, said Jay Tucker, executive director of UCLA's Anderson Center for Media, Entertainment, and Sports. They're not afraid to hold their bosses and their bosses' bosses accountable when they feel like something's not appropriate. That's a noticeable and significant shift in the way workers approach these kinds of issues. Okay, so I'm the boss's boss. And if someone came to me from the lowest of the low and said, so-and-so is harassing one of our employees, I say, okay, well, we need to get that investigated. And then that worker, you say, hey, I'm sorry that you've been treated this way. This is terrible. Please accept my apology. And then if they don't, you can understand like they're kind of upset, but maybe, buy them a cookie or something over time, make them feel better about the situation, because that's what it feels like happened in this one house that we went to. It seems like people just walked off the job, and it just wasn't great. So let's continue. It says, that change has come about largely because of the generation that came after the millennials, said Marley Winograd, an expert on generational shifts with the University of Southern California. The new generation, plural, is also known as Generation Z. It's more diverse than its predecessors in terms of race and gender identity. Today's young people entering the workforce are more confrontational than their elders in pushing for social change and much more likely to put pressure on employees to act. Total mistake. Don't hire these people if they're that way. You will hurt your company. The younger generation recognizes that their company has a major impact on the world, and if their company was better, as in more in line with their values, the world would be better. Now, be careful. These are your values. They're not everyone's values. We have votes for a reason. They also recognize the power they have as consumers, particularly of entertainment, and all forms of entertainment consumption, which pretty much sums up Disney. It says the reaction to Disney's statements follows a similar pattern. Netflix employees and activists last year staged a virtual walkout to protest Chappelle's comedy special, The Closer, which included multiple bits that transgender people and allies said were harmful to their community. The protests came after Sarandos sent an email to staff defending the decision to air the special, saying, we have a strong belief that the content on the screen doesn't directly translate to real-world harm. This is an article we'd been having a long time ago. I don't know the answer, but it seems like if you put that Chris Wallace into a wrestling match with, anybody else from Fox, he'd lose, but what good does that do? I mean, like, you want to have a strong bench, basically. It says Sarandos later acknowledged he screwed up in his handling of employees concerned, but stood by his sentences and hopes the closer and balked at the notion of adding a content disclaimer. Netflix recently said Chappelle will host and produce a new series of comedy specials for the Los Gatos-based streamer. He will also kick off a planned Netflix community festival. That'll be a good time. 2 transgender employees who are the most vocal in their criticisms no longer work at Netflix. Gamelont's operation program manager B, Paige Pagel's Miners, was fired for allegedly leaking internal and data, and charge Pagel's Miner declined. Software engineer Tara Field resigned after a labor complaint that the file in the Pagel's Manor file lawsuit against Netflix was withdrawn. Okay, I don't even know. That didn't sound good. Employees of video game giant Activision Blizzard staged walkout to protest the company's response to allegations of perverse discrimination and harassment against women. Microsoft has agreed to acquire the Santa Monica company for $69 billion. 69 with a B. Billion. Less public was the internal tumult at Swedish audio streaming service Spotify, where Eck was questioned for supporting Rogan at his popular podcast, which the streamer distributes exclusively. Spotify weathered a word-of-mouth drama after artists like Neil Young and Joni Mitchell boycotted the service. Let them. Those guys are ridiculous. Leading to debates among Spotify employees even after the company revealed its content moderation guidelines and promised new labeling on pandemic-related shows. But while Spotify, Netflix, and Activision all create popular entertainment, none is quite like Disney. Fans have an emotional connection to Disney, which has a nearly 100-year history and produced movies beloved by multiple generations. It's true there are movies that I love by Disney, Nothing new. Nothing new from them, though. All been terrible. Let's keep going. It says people now in their mid-30s and younger grew up during a renaissance of Disney animated movie making that spanned from The Little Mermaid to Tarzan. Many of those people work at Disney. Those who choose to work for Disney go there because they believe in spreading joy. That, coupled with Disney's massive employee base, gives Disney a level of cultural power that few companies can match. And is that a good thing? It says there's a lot of cultural significance there. People generally feel like there's something at stake when a brand of that consequences finds itself on the wrong side or another of an issue. This is unique because there aren't too many other brands where people would care what the brand has to say. That's absolutely right. Deerwood Realty can say whatever we want to because no one's paying attention. This is not the first flare-up for Disney, which has long had to walk a tightrope when it comes to political activism. After all, many of the people who watch Disney movies and trek to its theme park everywhere are socially conservative. Taking an aggressive stand on cultural wedge issue could mean alienating some of Disney's audience. I will not go visit Disney in Florida. I don't care. I kind of expect everyone to be a certain type of left. And then, I just understand that. If you don't, you're kind of like, it's confusing. Amid fears that Disney would become a target of the right have come true, Governor Ron DeSantis blasted Chapek's comments in an appearance before supporters in Boca Raton and attacked the company for its silence on human rights abuses in China, which it does with massive bullets. In Florida, our police have got to be based on the best interests of Florida citizens, not on the musing of woke corporations. Who doesn't disagree with that? Said Santos, who believed to be poised for a presidential run of 2024. Conservatives see parental rights in education bill is a winning issue in the state, which far more conservative than Disney, California can benefit our base. The desire for the wildest popular audience has not stopped Disney from weighing in on culture wars matters. In the past, Chapek's predecessor, Bob Iger, who ran the company for 15 years and at one point harbored presidential aspirations, threatened to stop producing movies in Google in 2016. The state passed a bill seen by many as anti-gay to expand individuals and business rights to deny any service of those whose way of life conflicts with their religious beliefs. The governor vetoed the bill. Years earlier, under Michael Eisner, Disney would come to embrace loosely organized gay day celebrations at its park in Orlando and Anaheim. Wow. Despite the protests in churches and conservative organizations, Disney has a long history of cachet with the LGBTQ community. There's no plus, which is kind of weird, with as many characters, particularly animated villains that have been read as queer-coded. Fascinating. I don't know which ones are, which is partly why there's so much attention to how Disney makes decisions that affect queer people inside and outside of the company. Chapek, in his initial email, argued that Disney could more effectively bring about social change through movies and shows like Encanto and Love, Victor. But the Pixar employee letter took issue with that statement and accused Disney of censoring depictions of overtly LGBTQ affection in Pixar content. Some Hollywood insiders say Chapek's bungled response reflects a lack of expertise in the system side of Hollywood before taking the CEO job. Chapek, an Indian native and Michigan State University MBA, succeeded Iger after decades at Disney running operations including theme parks, consumer projects, and home and video distribution. That doesn't mean that Chapek is a bad person or somehow can't leave Disney. An outspoken crime and TV person known for projects including Curb Your Enthusiasm. But it does mean that this has to be an expensive from which he gains a broader perspective, and that will inform us his future decisions, or there will certainly be long-term consequences for him and Disney. Do you think there will be? I know Disney's stock price was looking pretty terrible. We're going to go here. What did we learn tonight? Well, we learned that John's about ready to fall asleep. He managed to do a live stream half awake, and that's about the best we can do. I'm not going to do any more tonight. I am done. I am donezo. I'm going to bed. Thank you for watching. We learned a lot. If you've gotten this far and enjoyed any of the content, would you please do me a favor and hit the subscribe button? I need 1,000 subscribers so that I can be monetized. But so far I haven't been. And I just want to make a couple cents. Now, will I make a couple cents? I don't know. It'd be nice. It'd be cool. It's just better than not. So if you get a chance, hit the subscribe button, watch my videos, share my videos with your friends, family, anybody, even if you hate them, your biggest enemy. Do that. It's totally cool, and I appreciate it. With that being said, I'm going to head out. Thank you for watching. I will catch you tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. Bye.